The teacher asked the class to name big words that eat things and end in tor. A little girl raised her hand and said, alligator. The teacher replied, very good. That is a very clever example. Then a little boy raised his and said, predator. The teacher replied, wonderful. That is an excellent example. Well done. Little Johnny raises his hand and blurts out, vibrator. The teacher nearly fell off her chair. She regained her composure and scolded little Johnny, that is a big word, but it does not eat anything. To which little Johnny replied, yes, it does. I overheard my sister saying it eats batteries like there's no tomorrow. An old preacher was dying. He sent a message for his banker and his lawyer, both church members, to come to his home. When they arrived, they were ushered up to his bedroom. As they entered the room, the preacher held out his hands and motioned for them to sit on each side of the bed. The preacher grasped their hands, sighed contentedly, smiled, and stared at the ceiling. For a time, no one said anything. Both the banker and lawyer were touched and flattered that the preacher would ask them to be with him during his final moments. They were also puzzled. The preacher had never given them any indication that he particularly liked either of them. They both remembered his many long, uncomfortable sermons about greed, covetousness, and avaricious behavior that made them squirm in their seats. Finally, the banker said, preacher, why did you ask us to come? The old preacher mustered up his strength and then weakly said, Jesus died between two thieves, and that's how I want to go. An old man, Jesus, and Moses were all playing golf. Moses steps up to the tee, takes his swing, and kerplunk, the ball landed right in the water drift. The two men groan when all of a sudden Moses raises his hands high in the air. The water parts, and he walks through the separation, takes his swing, and makes the hole on the second shot. The other two men applaud as Jesus steps up to the tee. Taking his swing, the ball plunks into the water ahead. Moses's and the old man's groaning halt, though, when Jesus walks on top of the water to just above the ball. Taking his swing below the water surface, he hits the hole on the second swing. The old man steps up to the tee and takes his swing. But just as the ball is about to land in the water, a large fish jumps up and swallows the ball. Then, just before the fish is about to dive back into the water, a mighty eagle swoops down and grabs the fish, soaring off into the sky. Suddenly, a lightning bolt flashes through the sky, almost hitting the eagle. The eagle drops the fish. The fish lands about 4 feet away from the hole. As the fish hits the green, the ball pops out of its mouth and rolls into the hole, making it a hole in one. Just then, Jesus spins around, hands on his hips, and yells, "If you're going to show off, we won't play golf with you again, Dad." I went into my proctologist's office for my first rectal exam. His new nurse, Brittany, took me to an examining room and told me to get undressed and have a seat until the doctor could see me. She said that he would only be a few minutes. After putting on the gown that she gave me, I sat down. While waiting, I observed that there were 3 items on a stand next to the examination table: a tube of KY jelly, a rubber glove, and a beer. When the doctor finally came in, I said, "Look, Doc, I'm a little confused, as this is my first exam. I know what the KY is used for, and I can guess what the glove is for, but can you tell me what the beer is for?" At that, my doctor became noticeably outraged and stormed over to the door. He flung the door open and yelled to the nurse, "Gosh darn it, Brittany! I said a butt light!" A teenage boy goes to church to confess his sins. "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have been with a loose girl." The priest asks, "Is that you, little Tommy O'Shaughnessy?" The boy replies, "Yes, Father, it is." The priest asks, "And who was the girl you were with?" "I can't tell you, Father. I don't want to ruin her reputation." "Well, Tommy, I'm sure to find out her name. sooner or later, so you may as well tell me now. Was it Patricia Fitzgerald? Tommy replies, I cannot say. The priest insists, was it Lisa O'Shanter? My lips are sealed. Was it Kathy Odell? Please, Father, I cannot tell you. The priest sighs in frustration. You're very tight-lipped, and I admire that. But you've sinned, and you have to atone. You can no longer be an altar boy until 4 months have passed. Now you go and behave yourself. Tommy says, Yes, Father. Tommy walks back to his pew, and his friend Sean slides over and whispers, What'd you get? Tommy grins and says, 4 months vacation and 3 good leads. A guy walks into a bar and says, Give me a shot of your finest whiskey and pour one for yourself, on me. The bartender is surprised but pleased, so he pours 2 shots of the most expensive scotch in the house. They toast and drink up. After a few moments, the man gets up and walks towards the door without paying. The bartender chases after him and says, Hey, what's the big idea? You haven't paid the bill. The guy says, Sorry, I haven't got a cent on me. So the bartender grabs him by the collar and tosses him out the door and says to not come back. The next night, the same guy walks in and the bartender is about to kick him out, but the guy says, Give me 2 shots of your finest whiskey. I'm really sorry about last night. Let me make it up to you. Let's have another couple of shots and be friends again. The bartender is wary, but figures no one would be crazy enough to pull the same stunt twice and gives the guy the benefit of the doubt. He pours and they drink up, but once again, the guy gets up to leave without paying. The bartender chases after him again and says, Hey, you owe me for all those drinks? The man shrugs. Sorry, I haven't got a cent on me. So the bartender really roughs him up this time and sends him on his way with a black eye and a bloody lip. The next night, the same guy shows up again and says, Give me 1 shot of your finest whiskey. What? The bartender mocks. How come you're not buying me a drink as well this time? Holy smokes, dude, no way. You get way too violent when you drink. 2 women are on a girls' night out, both of them married, loyal, and exemplary wives. This night, they have had 1 too many Bacardi breezes and are unsteadily walking home. On the way, they suddenly realize that they really have to pee, and lacking any proper facilities, they decide to sneak into a graveyard. The first woman realizes that she has nothing to wipe with, so she uses her underwear and then throws it away. Her friend, however, is wearing expensive lingerie and doesn't want to resort to such methods. Instead, next to a grave, she finds a ribbon on a wreath, so she uses that. Having finished, they both walk home, tipsy but happy. The next day, the first woman's husband phones the second woman's husband, furious. You'll never believe this. My wife came home last night not wearing any panties. That's nothing, says the other man. My wife came home with a card stuck between her butt cheeks that said, From all of us at the fire station, we'll never forget you. My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.